Another aggregate function that we can use is average. So if you have a column, for example, and you want to find the average of all the values, you want to add them all up and divide by the count, you can use the average. So I can just say, for example, tell me the average of the price column in the products. So this is going to do, what it's going to do is going to add up all the products, divide by how many, and tell me the average price. Now I can do something a little bit more sophisticated where I want to find the average price, like for example, of a product in a certain department. So in this case, I want to see for every department, I want to see an average for that department. If I want to see an average for that department, we will use the group by, just like we did with the count. So here I will group all my data, all my rows with department ID, and then I will go to every group and say, I want you to show me what the average price is for that group. So we can use the average with the group by to do that. So let's see an example. So here, let's look at all the products. Okay, so every product has a name, a price, and a department. And here we only have 2 departments. So if I just say select the average of price product, it'll add up all these numbers and divide by 8. And if I were to do the calculation, I'd get 127. Now I want to see the average by a certain department, so I can say I want to see for every department the average price. Because I want to see it for every department, I need to make sure from product, I want to make sure that I do a group by department ID. And these, like I mentioned before, have to match for the group by to work. So if I say, for example, select, product ID. It's going to tell me it's not a group by expression. So whatever you are selecting, you're trying to view needs to match what you are grouping by. So this must be the department ID. And we can apply that to other columns, other tables, and that's what you're going to be doing in the classwork, is practicing these different aggregate functions with different tables. So I'm not going to show more in the video. And then the other thing is also the sum. So I can find the sum of all the items, for example, in a table, or I can find the sum of all the items by a department. We can do it by customer ID. For example, let's say I want to see everything from the customer order table. So my customer order table has a customer ID. I want to see how much each customer spent. So I can say, okay, I want to select customer ID. And what I want to see is the sum of what the prices are not here. Okay, well, let's see. Let's count how many products they ordered instead. So here I want to see the customer ID and a count of how many products they ordered from the customer order. And here I am grouping by customer ID. So it's going to group them by customer ID, all the data, and then count the product IDs for each one. And so it shows me that each one of these customers ordered how many. So 2, we did that one before. Let's look at another table to do a sum. So let's do a select star from product. No, that's not what I want to do. Let's look at employee. Another example. So let's see, for example, what's the sum of the salaries for a certain department? I want to know each department how much it's paying. So what I can do, and we don't need this one, we did it before. So I can come here and I say, well, I want to see for every department ID, I want to see the sum of all the salaries. So I want to add up all the salaries for every department. So that means I need to first group them by the department ID. I'm going to put them into groups by the department ID. And then I'm going to go to every group and I'm going to add up all the summaries, all the salaries that are in it. And so if I do that, I will get every department how much money they are spending on salaries. So we can use those aggregate functions with the group by to run some queries and run statistics on our database. So for the classwork, what you're going to be doing, you're going to find that there is a Word document attached to Blackboard. It has some commands, some things that I want you to run. So you're going to write the query for each one. You're going to copy and paste your query into the Word document, and then you're going to submit also a screenshot of your SQL output. Now, to do this classwork, make sure that you use the sample data SQL file that is on Blackboard. If you have the tables from before in your database, don't forget to remove them. So I would start fresh, I would drop all the tables and recreate all the data again. So copy everything again from that SQL database file.